Everyone, we've just hit after 3:30, so thank you for those people that have been the early birds and come along. I really appreciate your attendance today at this Egg Farmers of Australia webinar. For those I haven't met, my name is Melinda Hashimoto and I'm the CEO of Egg Farmers of Australia. I'm really pleased to introduce today our silver corporate sponsor and Gen Egg luncheon sponsor, Tresidder Insurance Brokers, a Gallagher company. Tresidder's was founded in 2009 by Brad Tresidder, who before commencing his own business was a senior broker in two major brokering firms, working with national and international clients. Tresidder's is an Australian company with global connections to find solutions for clients. One of their many specialisations is in the poultry sector. The Tresidder's team provide insurance by design, and today Luke Shanisky will present to you on the topic of insuring for avian influenza and Salmonella enteritidis. Luke holds a master's degree in insurance management and has been servicing poultry clients for the past 15 years. I'll now hand over to Luke, and following Luke's presentation, there will be some time for questions. Thanks very much.
Thanks, Melinda, and thanks to EFA for allowing us to present today. Okay, let's just check. Have we got the... You guys seeing that front screen?
Your desktop at the moment.
Oh, that's a bit odd, sorry.
You're right.
There we go.
Perfect. Thanks.
Okay. Yeah, thank you. As Melinda mentioned, we are Tresidder Insurance Group, and we've recently merged with Gallagher's. Gallagher's are the world's second largest broker by market cap, listed on the New York Stock Exchange, and have 65,000 employees worldwide. So we have a lot of support for our office down in Geelong to help us support the poultry industry. So today, just a little bit about us and the EADRA cover scheme that exists currently, the gaps of that scheme, and then two programs that we've developed to support and provide cover for EFA members and poultry farmers. So I won't dwell too much on these first couple of slides, but as you've heard, we've been in the business for quite some time. We do look after a very large number of poultry clients, both egg producers, broilers, feed mills, etc. And we've now partnered with Gallagher, who are a very large broker in this space as well. There's a little bit on myself, and I've got Ashley Smith with me here. You can't see her, but she's joined into the meeting as well. Oh, sorry, are you guys seeing the slides that come through? Yep, you are.
Luke, yep.
Yeah, excellent. Sorry. Thank you. Okay, so the current EADRA compensation in the event of a high path AI provides cover for shed cleaning, destruction and replacement of birds, replacement of packaging. We have unfortunately had 3 clients over the past, say, 10 years go through a high path AI event, and we provide assistance with them, albeit they didn't have any specific cover through us. We provided assistance with market valuations on livestock, bird value curves, substantiating costs with removal, and anything we can do to help prepare a claim being made against the relevant government authority for the compensation that EADRA provides. Under the scheme, though, there are a few gaps that were identified throughout these events, and I'm sure you're probably aware. There's no compensation in an AI event for loss of sales or loss of profits. There's definitely no compensation for you to grade your eggs elsewhere or to buy other substitute eggs in if you're not producing. There's also no cover for staff wages and no cover for your fixed business expenses. There's also no compensation whatsoever for Salmonella enteritidis. We've spent a lot of time, probably almost 12 months now, doing research with clients who have been affected by both AI and SE, trying to understand what is it that they would have seen beneficial in one of those events, that we could help with. We're, at the end of the day, insurance is never going to stop the event from occurring. You've got your biosecurity manuals, your processes and procedures. All the insurance is able to do is to provide some level of compensation or finance in the event of an AI or an SE. So something we've developed to try and cater for, I'll say the medium enterprise farmers, is a group scheme to provide some levels of cover in the event of a high path AI for loss of profits. And so this has been designed on the basis that you might have one production farm or, say, a few production farms. Now, if you're a business that has, say, 10 production farms or more, you can absolutely buy this cover, but we would recommend a bespoke cover tailored specifically to your arrangement, your size of farm, your size of production, and that. So with this scheme here we've developed, we can get cover up to $400,000 for loss of gross profits on a 3-month indemnity period. And this is provided by way of a fixed dollar amount per laying bird or per rearing bird. And the intention is to provide that quick 3 months cover, which will hopefully, now that we've unfortunately had a few examples of this, would hopefully be enough time for you to get back into business. And this should help maybe cover things like your fixed business expenses. I mean, your insurance expenses aren't really going to change when you have an AI event. Your wages aren't really going to change when you have an AI event. Your accounting fees, your vehicle fees, all of those other things, they still continue. So what we're trying to do is make sure that this cover provides a genuine benefit for the business when it needs it the most. There is no excess on this policy. It does have a minimum premium of $10,000 plus stamp duty. And there are some requirements, as you can see on the right-hand side, to do with making sure that the underwriters are accepting a certain type of farm, which is a minimum level 2 or level 3 ESA, and preferred but not required are some of those risk management items you see there, which is no surface water on the farm, no prior losses, and minimised sharing of equipment. We do have clients who have suffered an AI event who are wanting to buy this cover. The answer is you can buy it, but I would say in our experience, not within the first 12 months of having an AI event. So we've got people who are effectively on a bit of a waiting list. And so once they've obtained 12 months clear of AI, they'll be getting the cover. This is an example of how the cover is structured and how it all would work. So this example is a business that has 4 farms, and each farm is running, a different type of bird. They might have some cage-free on one farm, they might have cage on the other. And so what we do at the start of the policy is we structure each farm based on the margin that the farm generates for the birds that it has. And so this will change each year. Different market, different production systems. A lot of clients we see are phasing cages out and moving to cage-free. But this is an example to show how we structure the loss of gross margin and how the margins can differ at each farm. And the design of this program, as I mentioned, is for the small to medium farms. So this has a maximum payout of $400,000 per farm, remembering that that's designed to cover 3 months, and that this is designed to cover some of those fixed expenses and gross profits, etc. The EADRA scheme is already there for the replacement of the birds, the cleanup costs, the packaging and the eggs for what is lost in that event only. This exact example, if we were to use it in unfortunately, if it were to happen in a claim event, then this is essentially the structure of how the payouts would work. So farm 3 breaks with AI, and then farm 2, and then farm 1. And so, as I think we would have seen with the likes of Kinross and the likes of some other farms having AI events, unfortunately, we can't always get on top of it as quick as we'd like and isolate it to just one farm. And so this policy, in its initial sense, when we designed it, was only going to respond to the first farm. We've since expanded it over the past few months, and this is now going to respond to at least 3 farms if you were unfortunate enough to get HighPath AI. Any questions on the AI structure and AI cover before we move on? No, that's okay. If you think of any questions at the end, my email address and contact details will be at the end. So if you think of something, please feel free to email it through or give us a call. So this next item is on Salmonella enteritidis, and this, as we mentioned before, has absolutely no cover within the ADRA at the moment. So we have designed a cover that sits on the back of a product contamination policy, and we actually have many clients who already buy product contamination insurance from us, and we've already contacted them at the start of the week. This agreement was signed off on Friday, so it's hot off the press. In the event of an SE, and there's effectively 2 types of trigger. There's an SE event that will trigger a recall in eggs because it's detected in the eggs and likely to cause an injury or an illness to people. We've got a primary policy that can do up to $5 million of cover. And you can see on the right-hand side there all of the items that covers. So it's not necessarily intending to cover the replacement cost of the bird, but it is intending to cover the loss of gross profit. So if you have the ability to source alternative eggs, to get eggs, you continue on production on other farms, but grade elsewhere that incurs an extra cost. The policy is designed to cover all of those extra costs. You've got consultants costs built in, you've got product replacement costs, the cost of the actual recall itself. So it's a very broad cover and one that we would highly recommend for clients in the poultry industry. The second part to the cover is something that we have developed exclusively with with insurers that we partner with. And as we understand, this is an Australian first. So this is where if you have a Salmonella enteritidis detected in your flocks, that's your laying birds or your rearing birds, any bird designed to ultimately produce eggs, that we have secured up to $250,000 or 15% of your sum insured, effectively a recall contamination trigger. So that's going to trigger the product replacement cost for the eggs. And as we understand, once you get an SE, the DPI will take over and depop the farm and clean up. So it's not a significantly high level of cover, but it is the first of its kind, and it's the first that we've made had the underwriter agree to. So some of these things are, baby steps, and as we get support from the industry and build the premium pool with the insurers, they'll be able to give us bigger limits. The great thing about this cover extension, though, which I'll show you on the next page, we've secured it for no cost. So the recall and product contamination policy as it is, the premiums that we secure are the premiums we secure for that product. We can add the cover for your laying and rearing birds to contract SE. We add that cover at no cost. So we've already had our first client sign up. We've got other clients as we speak, filling out the forms that are needed to get that cover added to their policies that already exist. So you can see here, for a small business, for a small egg farmer, there's not a lot of downside, to be honest. Minimum premium $3,000 and no excess if your turnover is under 15 million. Now, there are some requirements regarding HACCP and HACCP audits, which I would imagine that most good businesses will be complying with anyway. So if you fill out the form and provide copies of the audits, then we can secure the cover. Any questions on the Salmonella enteritidis covers? Geez, this is an easy crowd. Usually I get pummeled with questions. So maybe I've given all the information that's needed, or maybe there's not a lot of interest. But look, in any event, thank you very much for your time. I won't take up the full hour. I won't take up too much of your day. As Melinda mentioned, and you've probably seen me around before, but we have been in this industry for a very long time. We'll be at the Egg Forum in Perth in November. We'll be at PIX in the Gold Coast in May. So if you do see us or you see our logo, please come over and say hello. I promise I won't bite. Happy to talk about risk management, your insurance program. Yeah, that's the stuff that gets me out of bed and excites me. So please feel free to come and say hello.
Thanks, Luke. And Luke, look, you've answered lots of the queries and questions, I guess, that we've received from, our members. I just wonder if you would mind maybe just speaking a little bit more around, I know the query with SE to do with disposal. Some farms have found that they've had kind of a debt afterwards to pay back to government around disposal. So I just wonder if you'd maybe mention that in the context of the SE insurance, and whether that there is a link in there, or whether that sits outside still.
Yeah, that's a good question, Melinda. So I suppose the intent of so there's a couple of ways you can insure the SE. One of the ways you can insure an event like that is through this product contamination policy, and it's not going to explicitly provide cover for the decontamination or the cleanup cost, but it will explicitly provide cover for your loss of profits and extra cost to grade elsewhere and cost to buy eggs in and the replacement cost of the product. So if you have savings on feed, savings on cleaning, savings on wages, some of those savings would be eaten away or used with the decontamination and cleanup cost of the SE event. And then if you're able to continue to maintain some form of revenue through the contamination insurance, then you're going to have reduced margins, but the debt you end up with at the end shouldn't be as large. The alternative for, say, a larger farm would be to buy a bespoke SE policy, which we can facilitate through our partners in London. I would say, though, that relatively they are quite expensive, and we're always really mindful about the cost of insurance for businesses. It comes straight off the bottom line, and a lot of businesses will go for 20, 30 years without ever having a major claim. So we have tried to design something that's going to give as much compensation as it can for as low as cost as possible.
Thanks, Luke. And look, Tresidors have spent, years doing all of the groundwork on these, policies to help people. So I hope that, and obviously Luke said there's been some updates to be able to offer the SE insurance product that's now available. So I hope that those online will seriously consider and have a look at what it will mean for their business. And certainly it's great that we will be seeing you at some of the upcoming egg industry events. So thanks always, Tresidors, for your support of us, and of course our members as well. And I really appreciate your time this afternoon, Luke, to present to us and answer some of the questions that have been put to us. And also those attending as well, thanks very much for your time this afternoon too. And please feel free to reach out to Luke if you've got any further queries. Thanks so much.
Wonderful. Thanks, Melinda. And thanks to EFA for allowing us to present. And thanks very much for our loyal clients and supporters, so I can see many of them are online as well. So thanks very much, guys.
Thanks, everyone. Bye-bye.
Cheers. Bye.
Thank you.